Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Saturday, the night before the Super Bowl, and I thought I would do a quick video on a 15 card PSA submission I put in back in December. As a subscriber to PSA DNA's Collectors Club, you get 15 free submissions, and right now it's taking about 60 days in order to get them back for a 15-day sub, but I understand it's pretty busy and they can only get to so many. So what you see right there is the first card I ever submitted back in the fall. The backstory to that one was when I bought it at a show for my set, I thought maybe after I got it home it was a reprint, and I had a couple dealers look at it that kind of concurred with me that it very well could be a reprint, but I sent it in, spent the money to find out that it was legit, and it was a 6.5, so I was pretty happy with that. So I thought, well, I'll send in my other submission. It's a variety of modern and vintage, but mostly vintage. One set I'm working on with the vintage is what I will start with, and I'll start with the lowest one first and kind of work my way up. And I sent in 1964 stand-ups, and for those of you that aren't familiar with that, they were issued by Topps, and you actually could stand them up. They had perforated inside, so you could place them on a table or a desk. So I sent in what I had of those. The first one, the lowest grade, is a Dick Stewart, graded 3.5. And honestly, going into it, my hope was that all of these would grade 3 or better, and for it to come back a 3.5, I guess, is what I expected. So that was the lowest grade I got. I did have one that came back with evidence of being recolored, and that was a little bit surprising, but I guess that's always a distinct possibility. And then moving up to one of the tougher ones, I got a 4 in it, and that was Sandy Koufax. I really like the stand-ups. I got a bunch of these from a dealer a few years ago, and I just decided to send in what I had. The goal is to obviously over time build the set. It's not a priority. It's pretty spendy at times, especially with some of the short prints, but I really like the Sandy Koufax that came back as a 4. The next card I should say, which was part of my original personal collection with Twins, was Rich Rollins when he came back a 5. And I honestly thought that one was worse than the Koufax that got a 4, or the Dick Stewart that got a 3.5. But what do I know? I'm just a collector. Then, also that came back a 5 was Willie Mays. And that was a really sharp card. I know there's some edge wear that brought it down, but the colors are really nice, and for a 5 I was extremely happy. The next, or the final ones I sent in, all received a 7, which really surprised me. So there's Jim Gentile of the A's, Albie Pearson of the Angels as a 7. Another one for the Angels, Lee Thomas. And this last one that came back a 7 was part of the personal collection also, and it was a twin, and he came back a nice holder and a near men 7, is Harmon Killebrew. So pretty pleased with those. A little surprised on the recoloring of the one. but that's the way it goes. The other cards I sent in, I do collect Mike Trout. I have had the fortune of picking up a few of his rookies in the past, and I sent in 2 finest base. One came back an 8, which actually isn't great, but it's still a really nice card. And the other one came back a 9. So obviously my hope was 9s for both. I did not think that they were 10s, but to get a 9, at least out of one of them, is pretty pleasing. The 8 I'll probably try to sell just to put back into the hobby. So if anyone's interested in a PSA 8 Mike Trout, let me know. Another Trout is the minor league. That came back a 9. This one sat in a box, unbeknownst to me that it was actually in there. And I came across and I thought, I'm going to send it in as part of my free grading, and I'm glad I did. Came back a 9. And the other one was the 2011 update Trout. They also came back a 9. The story behind that one is one of the guys that sits up at shows had opened a few jumbo boxes and just kind of put them all in a box and let them be, and lo and behold, he found them one day and started going through them and had 4 Trout update rookies in it, and he kept one for himself and brought the rest to show, and I was able to get one from him, and I sent it in mainly just to get it slabbed and just to see what it came back at, and it came back a 9, so I was very pleased with that. The last 2 were bigger purchases that I'd been really wanting to send in, and this one, I understand the grade. I'm not quite sure on the miscut. I know that there are many that are worse than this, but the 54 Ernie Banks, the reason I knew it would grade low is creasing here, bend here, corner there is bad. Other than that, it's a really nice card. It presents really well. From what I gathered, if you saw border on both sides, which you do, okay, and you saw the entire name up top without it being cut off, it should not grade as a miscut. And I could be wrong about that. Maybe others out there can educate me more on that. That was my assumption. Either way, is that real 1954 Ernie Banks? That is now in my collection. I am thinking down the road of trying to upgrade that to maybe a 4 or just a 3 that's not miscut. I haven't decided, but as of now, it sits in the collection. And the last card, part of my 55 Bowman set, was really pleased. 55 Mantle, came back a 3. I have seen many others that have been poorly off-center, like really centered horribly. This one was really, in my opinion, a pretty decent centered card, and came back a 3, and that's exactly what I was hoping for. I would have been okay with a 2.5 if they even make those or put those on there, I'm not sure, or a 2, but to get a 3, I was thrilled. So that is the PSA Mailday, and appreciate everyone watching, and I hope you all have a great weekend. And for the Super Bowl, my prediction is going to be as follows. I think it's going to be a great game. I think we're going to have a 4-quarter game, but ultimately I'm going with the Rams. I'm gonna say 31.28. Okay. So anyway, love to hear some comments, and hope you guys have a great weekend.